Good evening, everybody. Super Jackstro1 here, and yep, still in the cast here. Anyway, this is a weird. This is probably going to be one of the most ridiculous videos I've ever done. But to be honest, I don't care. Today is February 15th, 2023. Tomorrow, February 16th, is the worldwide premiere, Thursday night, or this Friday, actually, I should say, this Friday, the new film, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, is hitting movie theaters everywhere. I will actually be seeing the film early. I'll be seeing it tomorrow night with the Thursday night preview screenings with my brother-in-law, Pat. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, is the third film in the Ant-Man trilogy, and it is the 31st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is also the first film of Phase 5, and it's apparently supposed to be the beginning of the new era, and it's supposed to be introducing the new villain, Kang. And this is currently... It's been one of the most anticipated MCU films ever. But I'm going to be honest here. I have not been really that excited for the film. And it is over one thing. For those who probably saw... I've made a couple comments about this in the past on other social media accounts, on Facebook and Twitter, and a couple Instagram comments. So I want to talk about why I'm not that excited for it. This is going to be a little bit ridiculous, but I almost boycotted this film. All because of an actress that was screwed over. The character Cassie Lang, who is Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man's daughter, was recasted for this film, and with the previous actress screwed over. But before I kind of go into I talk about this, I want to go into some more detail about what I'm referring to. So, as you all know, for those who have seen all the MCU films, Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, has a daughter named Cassie Lang in the films. In the first two films, 2015's Ant-Man and 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp, she was his daughter, who was supposed to be a young child, was played by an actress named Abby Ryder Forstum, who did a great job, very had that childlike quality to her. Well, because she was a child. Yeah. But, unfortunately, they had to recast her in 2019's Avengers Endgame, one of my favorite films of all time. And that's my favorite MCU film. And that film, as we all know, in Avengers Endgame, this is going to be a spoiler for those who have not seen the film, there is a 5-year time jump in that film. And because of that, Cassie obviously aged from a child into a teenager. And for that scene in Avengers Endgame, which is one of the most emotional scenes in the entire film, where Scott reunites with Cassie, I'm sure you all have seen that scene. In that film, she was played by an actress named Emma Furman. Emma Furman, who is actually just a few months, almost, it was actually the exact same age as me, actually. Anyway, so it seemed like, and similar to the comics, Cassie Lang was going to be, have a huge role in the coming, future of the MCU. And there were reports of a third Ant-Man film that came about shortly after Ant-Man and the Wasp hit theaters. So, all throughout 2019 and 2020, everyone assumed that, Emma was officially the new Cassie Lang, and was going to be playing the character moving forward. Of course, that ended up not being the case, where at the Disney Investor Day thing that happened at the beginning of December of 2020, they announced a new Ant-Man film, the third film, called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was supposed to hit theaters in 2023. But a big twist is that the character of Cassie would once again be recasted. Instead of Emma Furman coming back to play the role, they announced that Cassie Lang would be played by actress Katherine Newton, who was already an up-and-comer. Literally a few weeks prior to this announcement, she appeared in the film Freaky, the comedy, the black comedy film Freaky with Vince Vaughn, which is a very funny movie. It is a good movie, and she also appeared the previous year in Detective Pikachu, and she was an up-and-comer and stuff like that. This raised a lot of eyebrows, especially since Emma was initially supposed to, everyone thought Emma was going to be the new knew Cassie, but excuse me, I apologize for my stutter. So reportedly, then there were theories and like people were believing that Emma basically turned down the decided to step down because she wanted to focus on school or something like that. But it turns out that wasn't the case actually, because Emma did a tweet actually just shortly after this happened where it was revealed she was actually not even notified of this recast. On December 11th, 2020, she sent out a tweet saying, "Just wanted to come on here and say that I see all of your kind messages, heart emoji. Thank you all for all your support. It has meant the world to me, and I was as sad as you all were to hear the news Thursday. I can only hope that this means there is something else for me in the future of the MCU." She then goes on to say, "I will always be grateful to have been part of the MCU and the biggest movie of all time. Being an actress is still my number one passion, and I look forward to what the future holds. XO, Emma," heart emoji. And for biggest movie of all time, because at the time that this tweet and this announcement happened, Avengers Endgame was still the highest grossing film of all time. This was before Avatar was re-released and took the crown back. But anyway, this gained a lot of criticism because apparently it appeared that Marvel, kind of just threw Emma out in the snow, and people were suspicious, and to this day we're all very curious of what exactly happened. The biggest theory, and some of the explanations don't even make sense. The biggest theory is that they probably just wanted a big name or well-known actress. Well, the thing is, Catherine Newton's not a big name actor. I mean, yeah, she's more well-known than Emma Furman, but she's not like a Hollywood blockbuster A-list person. And also, you got to remember, the MCU is the highest-grossing film franchise of all time. They are so successful and popular enough to the point where they don't need to rely on big-name actors to get butts in seats. And then there are people saying they probably want Cassie Lang's going to have a more experienced role, role in the future in the MCU, and they probably wanted a more experienced actor. I'm like, who? First off, Emma is an experienced actor. I've seen a couple of other movies. She definitely has acting chops, and excuse me, yeah, and some people are basically saying, oh, it's not that big a deal because Emma was only in it for 1 minute and had one line. I'm like, but still, it's the MCU is a world that has done a top-notch job of keeping continuity down to the tiniest details. Why would you make such a major continuity error that didn't even need to be there? Now, like I said, it'd be one thing if Emma was simply too busy or uninterested to come back, if she wanted to just focus on school. This would be a completely different story if that was the case. But no, apparently it appears, and from the interview she did in 2019, she was led to believe that she wanted to come back, and it appears she was led to believe that they were going to keep her on. I'm just very curious, and there are also reports going around that Marvel actually fired her because apparently when she was filming her scene in Avengers Endgame, which for those who probably I'm sure everyone remembers that Avengers Endgame was very, very secretive. Until the film's release, almost literally nothing was known about the film. But obviously it was the most anticipated film of all time. And nobody was supposed to know anything. And they even there was, even the directors were saying, don't spoil the Endgame. According to the theories, to what I've heard is that Emma did a social media post during the film of her scene, and she accidentally revealed that she was playing a teenage version of Scott's daughter. And because of that, they fired her as punishment for that. That doesn't seem right for me for a couple of reasons. One is that Emma was, quote, just a kid. I mean, yes, she's the same age as me, but still, it's you got to cut the kid some slack. And also, Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo have spoiled numerous instances. I've been terrible with spoilers, and nobody fired them. And that's one of the things I also want to say with Mark Ruffalo is that I understand, basically, it's this is not the first time the MCU has recasted a character. They just recasted General Ross, because, as you know, he was in The Incredible Hulk, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. He was played by the late William Hurt, who sadly died back in March of last year. And because of that, they recasted him with Harrison Ford. And also, they've also recasted Rhodey, aka War Machine. In the first Iron Man, he was played by Terrence Howard, but then, unfortunately, then some kind of money dispute happened where he felt like he wanted to be paid more money, and the studio wouldn't give it to him. So for Iron Man 2, they recasted Rhodey with Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle has been playing Rhodey ever since then. And something will happen with the Hulk, Bruce Banner. In the Incredible Hulk solo film, he was played by Edward Norton, but then apparently there have been many different versions of the story for why Norton left or was fired. There's been multiple different versions of the story that I'm not going to go through. So for the Avengers, they recasted him with Mark Ruffalo, who's been playing the Hulk ever since then. I understand, yes, this is not the first time a character has been recasted. However, usually whenever these characters were recasted, Marvel almost instantly issued out a statement announcing the recast, saying like, oh, we're going to recast this character. In that statement, they either vaguely or descriptively, like, do provide an explanation for why this recast happened. They have been completely silent about this with Cassie Lang. Literally, they've never even talked about Emma at all since this announcement. And that just raises a lot of eyebrows for me, because I'm like, I'm just curious to know, like, what exactly happened? Like, honestly, like, one of my theories is that, my theory is that either Kevin Feige or someone at Marvel Studios went and saw Freaky, loved Catherine Newton's performance, and then said, hey, we need this girl in the MCU. I'm willing to bet that is exactly what happened. And I just want to say one thing about Catherine Newton. I have nothing against Catherine Newton at all. She is totally innocent in this whole thing. She's a phenomenal actress. I loved her performance in Freaky. Her acting in that film was top notch. And honestly, I think Catherine Newton being in the MCU is a fantastic idea. But why cast her as a character that's already established and already had an actress playing her? Why wouldn't it have made more sense to cast Newton as a new character? I mean, that's what they did with Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld, great actress, and they, decided to put her in the MCU, and they, cast her in a new role of, as the role of Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye TV series, which she was great in that film. I'm just like, I just wish, like, I tried to give Marvel the benefit of the doubt, thinking like, okay, since we're going into the whole multiverse thing, I thought maybe Newton is just playing an alternate version of Cassie from another from another universe or something like that. But then, from everything that was being described and then from what we saw the trailers, it seems like her Cassie is supposed to be the same Cassie from before. And it's very distracting because it's like, you can clearly tell that's not the same actress that we saw in Avengers Endgame. It's not. And some people are saying, I even read comments saying Newton looked more like the actress that looked more like Abby Ryder Forster. I'm like, no, she didn't. I thought Emma looked more like a teenage version of Abby. Catherine Newton doesn't look like either of them. I mean, the woman has blonde hair, for Christ's sake. And like, just from one of the clips we saw, you could tell that she was either wearing a brown wig or she dyed her hair brown. I can't really tell which one it's which. I know. Oh yeah, sorry. I know. Yeah, I have my arm leaning against this thing. I know this sounds ridiculous, and I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it needs to be. But I don't know. I don't like this whole idea of just, this actress was screwed over out of Hollywood, and I'm just really curious to know that. I just wish they would provide like an explanation. Like, the fact that they've just remained completely silent about this whole thing makes it seem like they were just like, fuck that other girl. Let's get the up and comer. That's what it seems like. I just like. Kevin Feige, Peyton Reed. I know you're probably not going to watch this. You'll probably never see this video, but honestly, or someone on the list who has access to the Marvel Studios, could someone please come forward and just kind of explain what exactly happened? Is what I know. And the thing is, though, is what's worse, what makes this even worse is that they didn't even tell Emma from that tweet. It appears that she found out the same way everyone else did when they announced it at that Investors Day thing. It's like they couldn't spare 10 minutes to make a simple phone call, say like, hey, we loved what you did, you were great, but we decided to go in a different direction with the character. You really couldn't have done that? It's like, I'm sorry I keep repeating what happened, but it was just like, I've just been feeling like this, and that's why it's been hard to be excited for this film, knowing that they screwed an actress out of Hollywood. And I understand, yes, I get it. This happens all the time in Hollywood. But I don't know. All right. I wanted to get this all off my chest, and it feels really good to get it out to the world, that I just think it's unfair. It's like, why would you screw over an actress who was perfect in this role just to try and get the big name popular actor? I don't know. But, you know, I guess maybe this came back to bite them in the ass, because as of this recording, Ant-Man and the Wasp has a 53% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The second lowest rated MCU film, only behind Eternal. So I jokingly think, hey, that's maybe you got their karma for that. I know that's probably not the case. But yeah. But aside from that, I almost did boycott the movie because of this, but I decided not to boycott because I figured, you know what, that sounds a little ridiculous. I figured not a lot of people are going to care. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go see it. So this is going to be the last time I will ever bring up this whole thing. So if I like the film and decide to buy it on Blu-ray, which I probably will, whenever it appears in the Blu-ray update, I'm not going to talk about, you know, this issue or anything. I'm not going to do that because I honestly don't feel like just going over that. But, you know, I'm still going to see the film tomorrow night, and I'm really excited about that. So who knows? Maybe I'll be surprised. All right, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my next one.